All right, guys, welcome to the Team Set It Off call. Tonight's topic, hey, Kelly, can you mute yourself just for a second? Okay, awesome. Okay, so tonight's topic that we're going to be discussing is actually going to be one of our very own coaches, Kelly Buchanan. Say that 5 times fast. But she is one of our recent coaches. She's has had a record-breaking month. She's hit Success Club 18, and it isn't even over yet. She's rank advanced to Emerald, and she signed up 4 coaches, and another one probably on the way. You know, never say never until they actually sign up, right? But through all of this, Kelly's fitness journey is very, very inspiring, and I think a lot of people on our team don't actually know her fitness journey. So today, I'm just going to kind of basically hand it off to Kelly and let her tell you about her journey over the last 5 to 6 years, how Beachbody's played into it, where she started as a coach, and then obviously like the action plan of like the tips of like what set it off, hey, for her recent success. Side notes before we get started, it's about a week left in June. So the Challenge Pack specials are still up for grabs, 21-day fix. Like, this is the program that pretty much all of you have done or will do. It's like the end all be all. Like, and Kelly's going to talk about, the 21-day fix, of course, too, because, I'm sure we can all work out until we're blue in the face. I mean, like, if I could eat anything that I wanted and just work it off, I would. But we all know that's not the case. And with the 21-day fix, it's on special for $140. How amazing. And yeah, the month isn't over yet, so there's definitely still time, and there's an amazing call that they're going to be doing on July 8th with Bo Easton about how to tell your story. So if you hit Success Club this month, and you had some Success Club points last month, anyways, whatever. Minor details. If you haven't listened to the National Wake Up Call this week about the leadership ladder, it's very, very helpful, very insightful. Highly recommend it. And I think that's pretty much it. We have some really good stuff in the works. But yeah, I'm going to just let Kelly do her thing. So, Kel, it's all you. I'm going to mute myself.
Hi. I am so happy to see you all. And you know what? I actually got kind of nervous, which made me laugh so hard because you guys are like my family. And to be nervous to tell you my story, I thought, you know what? I need this practice. So anyway, I actually had to change my clothes twice, and then I keep having to go and pee. So I just wanted to tell you all that I was so excited that I got nervous to tell you. And I found a bunch of pictures. Okay, so where to start? So I'm just going to try to keep this short. When people ask me about my story in person, I will skim my story. I will say I was super unhealthy and stressed out. Sometimes I'll say, and I was a military spouse. And then I had horrible health problems, and then I just saw the light. And then I made changes. I became a crazy runner, and then also into fitness, and now I'm a coach, and I can help you. And, nobody connects to that. Nobody connects with that. So it's good practice that I'm talking to you about where I actually have been, because that is something that has changed the way that I'm working my Beachbody business this month. We're going to rewind. I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in Illinois, and I was adopted into a family of dark-skinned Indian, Native American family. So I was the redhead freckled kid. And then my parents didn't think they could have children, and they had 2 more biological children after they adopted me. And we moved all over, and I ended up being raised in Nebraska. So I'm from the Midwest. And I had a very rough childhood that I don't usually talk about to people. I had a really miserable childhood and a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, and I couldn't wait to leave Nebraska. I couldn't wait to leave. So when I was in high school, I was the girl that was the smarty pants, and I was just boom, 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 boom. My parents got divorced when I was young, and then both remarried. I stayed there in Nebraska. And I ended up graduating from high school when I was 16 years old, and with the motivation of just getting out of there. And I did. I went to college very young, and I intended to be a doctor. I thought I wanted to be a doctor of human medicine, but I wasn't even grown up enough to even handle boys, let alone going to college. So I ended up leaving school. I worked as a young adult. I was like 18 years old, and I worked in a small little town. I worked like 4 jobs, and I ended up just becoming independent and getting involved with other people and finding out that there were families that were normal and there were people that were loving. And I ended up relocating to Colorado Springs, where I worked quite a bit as well, and ended up meeting my ex-husband, Sean, who was in the military. And so we got married in 1995, and we moved to Texas. That was our first station. And fast forward, 3 kids, all over the southern United States. Sean, his MOS was an infantry. So he was an infantry guy when we first met, and he was deployed often and not home. And I was very independent, but I found myself with a lot of time on my hands. And after every of my pregnancies, I actually lost all the weight. I was that girl who just lost the weight. And everybody's like, how did that happen? And I did. And I was very active with my kids always. We ended up relocating different places, and at one point Sean ended up deciding he was going to have an opportunity to become a special forces operative. And so he went ahead and did all his training and got accepted, and he went ahead and changed his MOS. And once that happened, it's like my world just ended up becoming much more challenging and stressful for me. So I was already essentially a single mom in most ways, although I had a husband who was obviously protecting our country and, helping financially. But I always was working. I would work as a waitress. I would work at whatever job I could do for a year until we had to move. And all of my dreams were put on hold. And I'm a very ambitious person. I always have been. But I was a mom, right? And so when we're a mom, that kind of takes away, and we just give ourselves. Like, I'm already crying. I haven't even started. Anyway, once Sean became Special Forces, we ended up being in the South, which I loved living in the South. We were in Georgia for almost 6 years, which is a long time for the military. Well, and I enjoyed it so much. Uh-oh, what happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We worked off at the part where you said we moved to Georgia.
Oh, so what happened is I ended up getting an opportunity to go back to college. I got a scholarship through the Army for getting good grades, and I finished my degree and got a bachelor's in biology. Got a job on post as a veterinary assistant. Started doing a lot of animal rescue work, working with zoos, working with anything I could do with animals. I've always been interested in animals. My kids were little, and Sean was gone all the time, but it was a way for me to occupy my time. And I got a lot of training. I ended up getting a second degree, and I got a second bachelor's of science in zoology. And I really started to find some independence with myself. And then when Hunter, my youngest son, was 2, and I was 29 years old, I got diagnosed with cancer, actually. And I had a lot of problems and was kind of just being treated symptomatically, and finally saw a civilian doctor who was not messing around, did a biopsy of my right ovary and said, you have cancer, you have ovarian cancer, and took it out. And Sean was gone. He was in Iraq. This is when the Iraqi conflict was happening. And remember, I had a terrible childhood, so I don't have a relationship with my family. So I was very alone. And within a couple months, it had spread. So they just did a total hysterectomy and took out my uterus, took out my left ovary, took out everything, and then did radiation for 6 months. And I had some military friends that were very close, like family to me. And I'm so fortunate now looking back for them. And the kids were very
Short intermission as Kelly comes back on as she was about to have me burst into freaking tears. So we'll wait for her. I know she'll come back on. Oh, that's like only half her story. There's like
it's probably like 25%.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I started crying already.
Craziness, man. We all have, and it's like, it's crazy. We all have our own stories. And so as you listen to Kelly's story, I just kind of want you to think about the things that you've gone through. I mean, it's not like, you know, it has to be something crazy traumatic, but we've all gone through certain things individually, you know, and it resonates with a lot of people, and it's very inspiring. So definitely something to think about. Okay, you're back.
So we're going to edit it since my internet keeps going out. I was very unhappy and having problems with my weight and a military spouse, and we were able to get a station in Fort Lewis where we had been before and I wanted to be. So came to Fort Lewis in 2006. I was able to be someplace where I knew we were going to be stabilized for a while, and I started to pursue my career. And while it was happening, my ex-husband Sean was suffering from PTSD. He had been on so many deployments and had been in so many scary situations. The military is very supportive of their soldiers now, and they try really hard to make it mandatory things, but it wasn't always that way. Special Forces community kind of has this idea that you're just this little enclosed group with support, but really it's not. It's like you're this secret, separate from the Army. So I didn't have, and also to be married in Special Forces was rare. So there were no other married couples for support. I concentrated on my career. I was unhappy and I started to gain weight, and I just started losing control of that and just not paying attention to it. I was working in vet science, but it was very stressful for me. And so at the end of the days, I would drink alcohol. It would be nothing for me to think about just drinking 4 beer after the kids went to bed, and just not eating well. I'm the girl who would not eat breakfast, and I would not eat breakfast, and I would drink a Sprite at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I felt nauseous. So I found myself really unhappy in 2009, and Sean and I were having all kinds of problems. He had hurt himself, and he was home and having, no opportunity to deploy, and we were having to live together. And I found that I'm super independent and strong-willed, and he didn't know how to be a husband or a dad. And he said, I don't want to be a dad. He said he didn't want to be a dad, didn't want to be a husband, didn't think he could. So he just really needed help. And so we decided to separate. And at that time, I started really just looking at my life. I wouldn't say that that was like a moment that made me look at my life, but I absolutely started having introspection because I wanted to be happy. In the meantime, I've been having all kinds of physical problems. I've been on high blood pressure medicine for at least a year, high cholesterol. I had a horrible back. I had had so many back injuries from lifting heavy dogs and not having the muscles to do it. I was probably a size 26, I would guess with you. My scrubs were a XXX large. And I did not even see this. You know, I did not even see that this was something that was within my control. And I remember coming home from the clinic, and I had this little flight of stairs that was like 5 stairs on my porch. And every time I would have to stop and take a deep breath, because I knew it was going to hurt to climb those 5 stairs to my own home. And so I would take a deep breath and I would climb these stairs, knowing I was going in to my 3 teenagers as a single mom after working, 12 hours or whatever I did. And I did that for a long time. And I started to just feel that everything was hopeless. I was very depressed. And honestly, if I didn't have kids, I would have absolutely contemplated suicide, because I was so depressed and so miserable with myself and so hard on myself. And I just felt hopeless. So I remember it really clearly. I had been to the doctor. She had said I was having stomach problems all summer. And she said, I think we need to do a CAT scan, Kelly. And I was so scared of cancer. I was so scared it was cancer that I kept putting this off. And she said, there's lots of things it could be. But, honestly, and she wasn't even a doctor. She was a PA. She was amazing, is an amazing person. And we stayed in touch the whole time. So she has known me through the whole journey. She said to me, she had the guts to say, I honestly think that you're not taking care of yourself. And if you lost weight, you would be able to do your life better. And you deserve to take better care of yourself and stop giving every single thing that you have to everybody else but you. And she just looked me in the eyes and said that. And she says, I want you to see a surgeon for your back. And they had done an MRI. And I was like, well, what about my stomach and what's going on? And she said, I'm so concerned about your back. So I saw a surgeon who said, you need to have back surgery. And I said, I can't. I have kids to take care of and a job to work and bills to pay. And she said, well, then I think you should have gastric bypass surgery, because I have no idea how you're going to live in this body weighing this much. And I remember being shocked. I'm an obese person? I was shocked. Like I literally had been in denial. And so I said, okay, what do we have to do? And so she said, we're going to put you on a list, and then they're going to call you for consults. And in the meantime, I want you to think about making some healthy changes if that's something you can do. So I just thought about it and thought, I just have so much going on. This is the last thing I needed. And I'm also going there because of my stomach. I had a CAT scan. They found out my gallbladder was diseased beyond control. It's a common thing for 40, they call it FFF, female 40 fat. Those are the 3 risk factors for gallbladder disease. And I had so many gallstones going on that I was having pancreatitis, which is why my stomach hurt all the time, and which is why I was sick. And so they scheduled surgery to remove my gallbladder in October 2009. And Sean was gone. He was in Okinawa. And the kids were home alone. My oldest son was a sophomore in high school. And I remember clearly when I had that surgery all by myself with no one to help me. And I came home a couple days later, and I felt so much better. And I just felt like a relief. I felt like I had done something. And it was because I overcame that fear of the cancer. But I didn't see it at the time. And the kids were fighting and being teenagers, and I wasn't supposed to really be moving around. And I just decided to leave the house. And I was like, you know what? I must go outside because they're driving me crazy. And I forgot to mention that when I got weighed for surgery, the morning of surgery after fasting, I weighed 298 pounds. And I'm 5'4". And the nurses had this look of disgust on their face. And I remember distinctly how that felt. And I had no idea I was that heavy. I knew I was over 200 pounds, but I had no idea. So that night I went for a walk, and I went outside and I walked down the steps, and I went out to my sidewalk, and I thought, I wonder if I can walk around the block. And so I thought, I don't really want to go back in the house. I don't want to hear the kids fight. So I walked around the block, and when I was walking, I was thinking how good it felt to be outside and how I could think clearly. And I was just walking and I started crying. I was just by myself and in Tacoma, like hobbling because I had like drains and stuff. And I was in baggy clothes. And I probably looked like a mess. And I remember just crying and stopping because it hurt to walk. And then I remember just thinking, like, how am I here? Like, how is this my life right now? This is not what I was meant to be. This is not what I was meant to be. And I was 38 years old. And I thought, this is not what I want. And I can change this. And I don't have to do this. I don't have to be this person anymore. So I walked around the block. I came home. And I just woke up with a fresh feeling that next day. And so I just started making changes right away. And it was like within 1 month, I lost about 15 pounds just from not eating pizza at lunch and by eating little tiny bits for breakfast because I couldn't make myself eat breakfast. And at lunchtime at the vet clinic, I would go outside and drive the mile to this little field that was a third mile round. Are we frozen? No, we're not frozen. Okay. She's just yelling at you, Lucy. Okay. So I just started doing small things, and I started feeling enormously better. And I lost a little bit of weight, and I felt so much better. Like, I immediately felt better with my body. So I just used that momentum. And by the time I got a call for a consult for gastric bypass surgery, my BMI had already lowered to the point where I no longer qualified for it. And my doctor, the PA, she said, I think you can do this on your own. And I thought she was crazy. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. There's no way I can do this on my own. And she said, I really think you have it inside you. So what happened is in 2010, I just started going at lunch every single day at the vet clinic, and I'd leave the clinic. And my internet connection is unstable, just so you know. It's telling me now, my computer. Somebody move so I can see that you're not frozen. Oh no. Can you hear me? Are we back? Where did I leave off when you guys froze?
When you went for a walk at the vet clinic.
Oh, so I started just going for walks, and then I started to feel better, and I started to make little changes to how I ate. And then I started just doing longer walks, and then I started doing little jogs. And in 2010, for the entire year, I was able to lose like 60 pounds. And I was able to do little 5Ks, and I looked for little charitable runs to enter to help motivate me. And then I noticed that the people around me were motivated by my success and how excited I was about it. And so I started to realize there was a lot of support in people, right? So I started talking about it everywhere I was. I started talking about it. And I had some pretty crappy negative people in my life that would be like, well, that's great, but you still have 140 pounds to lose. And so you know what I did? I got rid of those people. And I was like, I don't need you in my life. I can just be alone, right? So what happened is I started to really gain some confidence. And I noticed that I had a natural benefit of physically feeling better, but also I was a better mom. I could handle my stress better and differently. And so I became a crazy runner. I'm going to kind of cut this short because I keep losing internet connection. That's what worked for me. So I became a crazy runner. I ran all the time. It was my stress relief. It was my exercise. I started eating differently, of course. And then in 2011, I did the Seattle Marathon in November. I weighed still 200 pounds. And I did it as a challenge with one of my friends because she had done marathons. And it took us the whole time. It took like 6.5 hours to complete it. I walked most of it. And I felt amazing. When I was done, I felt like I could do anything. And so that just really compelled me to continue training. And so I did. And then in 2012, I did 2 ultra marathons and 3 other marathons, lots of half marathons. And I ended up injuring myself. Big surprise. And that's how I found group fitness. So I injured my foot. My doctor said, you can't run anymore. But good news, you don't need any of your medicine. And good news, your body composition is getting healthy. So I came to the YMCA and I walked into a group exercise class and it was ripped. And I weighed 180 something and I just got addicted. I couldn't believe there's all these people having fun to music and they're all there to help each other. And that's how I came into group fitness. I became a volunteer at the Lakewood Y for 8 months, taught ripped all the time, got a lot of education. That ended up leading me into working at the downtown YMCA. They hired me as a paying position, and I ended up working there for almost a year and a half full time. I thought that my future was going to be as a director of the Y. I really thought that would be the place for me to help people. And because I enjoyed it so much and I got so much reward out of it, I ended up planning to quit my day job, which was very stressful. And I ended up saving money and for almost 8 months. And I saved enough money that I knew that I could pay the rent for the kids and I could live off of. And I just quit the day job and I just worked at the Y. And I taught classes and I was a crazy person teaching classes, and I taught 15 RIP classes a week. And I took every certification I could take and I got every training that they would offer. And I would do lifeguard duty, and then I would teach core in the gym, and then I would be a manager, and then I took a diabetes prevention training, and I just took advantage of I just saw it differently. Right? I realized that because I was choosing this life for myself, that I was choosing it. And so where everybody else felt like they were getting taken advantage of because they were getting paid minimum wage to do these things, I realized I was getting paid to learn all this and also to have experiences with people. So every opportunity I had to do some sort of any interaction with members, I would. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a fit for me, and it made me very unhappy to put so much energy to an organization that didn't give back to me and wasn't a fit with my future. So I started working part-time back at the vet clinic and started thinking about where was I going to be for my future? How was I going to live in wellness? I had met many Beachbody coaches. I had been to 3 Super Saturdays already. I had had a couple Shakeology samples, and I wasn't that, I wasn't that sold on it. I had, in the meantime, done all kinds of strength and conditioning. I trained for a bodybuilding competition. I had done Body Beast with my son and thought that was pretty cool, but I had not really had that connection to Beachbody. And then I decided that this girl that was teaching at my gym, who is half Korean and she's kind of crazy, like I had this connection with her, and I had gotten Turbo Kick certified and PYO certified. And so I needed PYO for my own personal goals. And so I started staying after RIP class on Wednesday nights and taking PYO with Jen. And then I kind of stalked her on Facebook and realized that she was a Beachbody coach too. And so I started to just this is all within 2 weeks. I make it sound like it was months. So I finally just decided, I actually had a friend, a close friend, who was a Beachbody coach, who had invited me to opportunity. And I said no. I said that I thought it would be a great idea, but it wasn't the right time. And then when I started to think more about it, and then I started thinking about Jen, I decided, you know what, I think that's the fit, which was kind of odd looking back now. But I just felt like it was right. And so I walked into her PYO class one day, and I went early, which was hard to do because I was leaving ripped. And I said, so I want to sign up for Beachbody as a coach under you. And she kind of just looked at me like, what? Okay, well, we should talk after class. And that's how it all started with my Beachbody journey. And what I found is I immediately had this kind of family feeling. The fact that Jen is so embracing of all of us and our individuality. She makes such a point of finding out about us and what motivates us and where we're coming from and what we want, what our goals are. it was a fit. However, I didn't work my Beachbody business at all until recently. I just kind of let life get in the way and used it to get my Shakeology discount. And I did the 21-day fix in January. Was it January when we did it? I think, which was amazing. I kind of feel like with the 21-day fix, what I tell some of the girls that I meet, I feel like it's everything I learned in 3 years about nutrition, and then they stamped a like label on it and they sold it. I kind of feel cheated. Like I should have done it first. I'm just kidding. I'm happy that they have it out there to help people. So it's so great to help people understand what their caloric needs are. It's based on metabolic eating, and I've done so much research about this program, and so I really feel passionate about it. But fast forward to May, I started really thinking about how financially strapped things are for me and how I really want to make money from this business, but I also want to help people. And in the meantime, I work 16-hour days, Monday through Thursday, and I have 6 jobs. I'm always busy. I'm constantly broke. I'm a single mom. My son is going to be moving, and I'm going to be downsizing, and I've just had a lot of personal challenges that have been overwhelming. I'm going to be an empty nester. Lots of things that I'm excited about, but also scared about. And so I really got focused on my dream board. First, I got in contact with my why, had some really good moments about what is motivating me. And then taking that to what do I have that other people don't have that people can get value from? Because every single one of you has something that somebody needs that you may not even know, that you haven't even met them yet, that I don't have, but only you have. And so I started doing some soul searching. I started doing personal development. And then I really started getting strict about doing the things that Beachbody already has out for us to do. So doing Power Hour, and this is what I should do every day. In May, I started feeling like I was connecting with people more. And so I started to have a little momentum. And I wanted to get Success Club 5 so bad. And I started to talk with people. But I wasn't getting anywhere. I couldn't overcome objections. And I'm not a very good salesperson, so I don't want to push things on people. And I also had so much hectic stuff going on in my life that I just kept letting that be in the way. And I kind of just started realizing that I'm not going to do it half-ass, because I can't say that I halfway have passion to help people feel well. And I can't say that I halfway am going to give this much energy to something that I committed to. If I'm going to be a coach, then I'm going to be the best coach I can be. I mean, I'm only human, and we're all only human, but we have so much to offer. So I started thinking about that, and thinking about the fact that if I was focusing my energy differently each day, then at the end of the day, I wouldn't say, oh, well, now it's the end of the day, and I wish I would have devoted some time to Beachbody, to reaching out to people, and to making connections, and to following through. And so I started making my Power Hour in the morning, actually, because of Jamie had talked on a team call about how she did her Power Hour at like a ridiculous time of the day, like 5 in the morning or something. And I thought that was just nuts. But then I thought, that's kind of brilliant, because then you have it out of the way, and when life gets in the way, you've already got your priority done. And for me, I want it to be my priority. So I started making sure that I got an hour in the morning, and I made sacrifices to do this, and sacrificed morning runs and time with Jasmine. We used to go to Wapato in the morning, and that was a sad thing for us to do, to not be able to do that, but it was important to work the business, and we found other time for each other. So within a week of doing that at the beginning of June, I noticed that people would respond to me differently if I would listen better to what they needed and not just think I had the answer before I had heard them. So some of the things I did differently is I took notes while I was talking to people, and I asked the questions that we have to get more information from them. And I found out that people will be very straightforward with what they actually want and need. And it's not almost never what I think it is. I found out that people, there are people that just want to sleep better. They may lose weight and they may have weight to lose perhaps, but they want to sleep better, and that's their goal. And so how do I help them connect with tools to help them with that? And then I, of course, found lots of people who want to eat better, eat healthier. So when I would see someone who had that need, I tried to be more sedate with how I would interact with them. And I just got information and I let things be their choice. But I also did a lot more personal contact with people. I also made a point of, Jen always recommends calling people. People respond differently when they hear your voice and your voice inflection. And so I would call people whenever possible and talk on the phone with them. And I noticed that if I have a phone call, then I wouldn't have any more texts, because that would be it. Done deal. Started using Voxer before we were using it as coaches, of course, together, but I immediately started inviting people to Voxer. As soon as I would text them on Facebook, I would invite them to Voxer. And then I started being able to speak with them more frequently, and they could hear my voice. What else did I do? I made videos of myself in my car on my way to work, and I would just be talking about some ideas of things that I was thinking about for the day. I would talk about how I'll have to just make them public sometime, you guys, and so you can all see them because I still have them. But I would just say, today is a fresh day. This is how I felt when I woke up. I'm going to put my focus on this positive place. This is one of the ways that I continue on my journey, et cetera, et cetera. And I noticed that I was connecting with people better by making a little effort to do those things. And these were all things I was doing in between other stuff. So I had my power hour, then I would do some Voxer, I might do a video. At lunchtime, I made a point to have more me time, go sit outside, connect with people. So what I realized is within a week or 2 weeks, I was spending 3 or 4 hours a day devoted to Beachbody, as opposed to half an hour a day. And that has made a huge difference because it kind of carries over. And then I took it another step further, and I was thinking, everywhere around me are all these people that need help with things, and I might have tools to help them. And, I really wanted to share the coaching opportunity more. So I started looking for people around me that were unhappy in their job. And I started at my own job and found a coworker who wants to leave that job and shared the opportunity. She had never even tried Beachbody, and she just jumped on it and said yes, because I see how happy you are doing it. And then I started looking at the grocery store, and I started looking at students in my class that were stressed out teachers. And I just started really inviting and not being scared to invite. Because if you have sincere things to share about your personal experience, people connect with that and they'll say, this is not for me. And then you just say, that's okay. So I made a lot of small changes like that, but mostly I would say I focused differently. I'm putting my focus on my future with Beachbody and not on the now of working 6 other jobs to pay the bills. What else? Trying to think of other ideas. I didn't make very good notes about some of the things I wanted to talk about, and I didn't expect my internet connection to be strange. One of the other things I did is whenever I have someone interested in signing up for buying a challenge pack, I have made myself a little script to immediately share the coaching opportunity and just not be scared to do it. Share the possibility of the discount for the Shakeology that they'll have, the idea that if they need to cancel, they can, that I'm here for them, and that they have an entire team above me of people that are here for them. And that has really worked. 2 of the coaches I have didn't even tell me they were going to choose to be coaches. I didn't even know they were coaches until Jen Boxers me, congratulations on the new other coaches. So, because I was so busy talking to others and didn't even know they had chosen. So it has continued to snowball, and I have momentum going, which I'm using. I also have been keeping my dream board alive. Having some financial restraints and other issues going on personally has only helped to make me feel motivated, and getting commissions every week has made a huge difference. I've had a lot of sacrifices I've made. We've had some hard family times. We've put our dog down. My son's getting ready to move forever to Utah, which I'm excited for him. He gets to be with his dad for 2 years, which is an amazing opportunity for them both. I'm going to be moving. I have to downsize. I can't afford to live in a 4-bedroom house with a fat orange cat, nor should I. So I have definitely felt emotionally stressed, and having this focus on going forward with this business has made a huge difference for me. I have been much better about taking me time for myself. I've been delegating and leaning on others. I've reached out to Jasmine so many times in our group and Harley and said, I can't even, I can't even post inspirational posts. I just feel so sad about my dog and I need time. And they said, of course, we'll do it. And then I said, can I send some of my challengers to you if they have problems? And they said, of course. And so I said, please reach out to Coach Jasmine, And then I've just made a lot of allowances for myself that I don't always practice doing, and it has made a huge difference. So one of my fears was going into Super Saturday in July and having the opportunity to share my story. But my fear was that they were going to ask, how has Beachbody changed your life? And I would have nothing to say. Oh, I already met my goal weight before I even came to Beachbody, or this, and that. And I also haven't worked the business, and I'll let you know that next year. So it's been exciting for me to know that I have some good things to say, whether I do get to share my story or not. At the end of the day, the best reward is these women that are changing their lives and that trust me to help themselves. And it feels so good to know that I have a place where I can put effort into a business and I'm going to get out what I put into it. So that's that. I can't even hear you all.
Give her a round of applause.
Oh, I had pictures.
Bravo.
I guess I'll show you a quick picture. Do you want to see a quick picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So these have both been online. This is a picture of me, and this is Thanksgiving in 2010, and I'm basting a turkey with butter. Can you see it? You can only tell this is me because I have a tattoo on my wrist. I hated pictures of myself, as you can imagine. My face doesn't even look recognizable. This is a picture of me I don't put on social media because I'm holding a dying cat. I'm huge. You can't even see. Can you see me?
Dude, that doesn't even look
Not
like
really.
you at all.
Maybe I should scan those in sometime. Here's my crazy runner group. That's me. Dr. Roy, Dr. Roy ended up losing 60 pounds when he was 76 years old, and he has ran his first marathon last year. And he jokes that is all due to my transformation. Sometimes at work he'll say, "You want to get some pizza?" This is Dr. Roy. Look at Dr. Roy. He's crazy. Look at him. He's in a kilt. He's like my dad. Right?
Yeah.
Here's me and Ashley after a mud run.
Nice.
And then here's more important. Here's my son, Josh.
Aww.
He's 22 now. He has a beard. He doesn't look like that. Here's my daughter when she was all innocent with a horse.
With a horse.
These are like the old pictures. Now she's 19 and she's just sassy. That's Hunter.
Hunter. Happy birthday,
Yep.
Hunter.
Hunter had a great birthday. He actually has had his whole birthday. And I have to tell you guys, I'm going to put it on Facebook. I made the red velvet cupcake recipe that I made for our coaches night with vanilla Shakeology and no sugar, no oil, no butter. And didn't tell them, and nobody knew, and they thought I used red food dye. They thought they were red velvet cupcakes for his birthday.
That's amazing. Dude, definitely. Please share that. That's incredible.
If they had 8 grams of protein, they had 8 grams of protein. He has other junk. Judge, he got to have junk too.
That's funny.
Here's my story. Here's my why story.
You're so awesome.
Oh.
Anyway, it's been a journey. Every single one of us has journeys that are so important. And the thing that I've learned the most is people connect to us because we talk about our why. And the reason people are responding to me now and I'm overcoming objections is because I listen, but I think about what do I have inside me from my experience that can help this person? And secondly, if I don't have this, does anyone else on this team have this that can help this person? I mean, that's something I think a lot about.
Very cool. I think the biggest thing that I've kind of taken away from your talk is that you really tapped into your why and it became very crystal clear. And if those of you, if you've never read The Compound Effect, he gives a really brilliant example about, like, for those of you that have children or maybe a pet you really love, you know, if you were asked to walk a plank, you know, for $20, like, oh, okay, would you do it? Yeah, okay, whatever. Like just a piece of wood on the floor, whatever. But then if you put that piece of wood and you put it between two skyscrapers and you're like, walk that for $20, you'd be like, no. But then if they threw like your husband or your kids or your wiener dog or whatever is really, really, really just, it wouldn't even matter, right? You would just run. You wouldn't care about anything. You would get as fast as you could to that skyscraper. Did I mention the skyscraper's on fire? Not just because they're like, hey, I'm at the other skyscraper, come here. But you know, when we get very tapped into our why, my favorite Beachbody team is Set Your Soul on Fire, because it really is truly speaks for itself that when you set the human soul on fire, then, you know, you're unstoppable. It doesn't matter if you have, you know, your dog is put down or you are having financial issues or you work 6 jobs or whatever, you know. It's like, especially with, for me, listening to Kelly's story is like all the things she's gone through, just like the things that we have each gone through in our own lives. If you can overcome that, how can you not be a Beachbody coach? Like, you could do this, right? And the sooner you start having that belief, the sooner you'll start seeing your own potential. And like Kelly said, the biggest things I took away from hers was she started listening to people and she got really strong about her story, and she didn't take offense if this isn't the right time for people. I think particularly probably because Kelly was asked to be a coach multiple times and it wasn't the right time for her. So the sooner you stop taking things so personally, you know, the easier it becomes to present that opportunity. So I will say, oh my God, I hate this weird dog that's here.
Can I say something, Jen?
Yes.
I just wanted to say that one of the things I also have learned a huge lesson about is I don't feel that I make assumptions, but a lot of the people that have reached out to me from Facebook posts that aren't always, like, I'm so timid to even put my before and after. Heaven forbid with my freaking abs and my huge scar. People that have reached out to me are not the people that I thought would. And so what I also started doing is when people would reach out to me, I would say, what made you reach out to me? And then listen. And then how come you think I can help you? And so people will tell me things that I didn't see as a value in myself, and I would hear that consistently. And so that would be that was really helpful for me. I've had a couple of childhood friends, like high school friends, that are now challengers that I haven't been connecting with for 4 years of my fitness and wellness. And they reached out to me because I was talking about every single day forgiving yourself, and they got the message that they felt that they needed someone who believed in them having a fresh start every day, and that they wanted some help with stress reduction, and they thought I had a lot of energy. So in my head, I thought I can help people lose 164 pounds. And what was really happening is there are people that attracted me for other values and things that I possessed that I didn't see. So I've really learned to invite without prejudice. Just invite. And then if it's a no, it's a no. But don't burn that bridge, because it might be a yes 2 weeks later, or it might be a yes for someone else in their life, or it might just be 2 years later they decide to become a coach. So I was really surprised about that too. I've just been a lot more open-minded and listening.
And then, okay, so then the things that I have for you, the one big question was, you said you have a script that you use when you are inviting someone so that they have that option to be a coach or a challenger. Would you mind sharing that on our team page?
No worries. I'd be happy to. It's very crude, so make it your own. But it's basically like, it kind of goes along the lines of, you know, disclaimer, nice way of saying, I don't know if this is good for you, et cetera, et cetera. But just so you are aware, I am looking for individuals to join my team. And I basically say a little bit about the kind of people I'm looking for on my team. I say my team name, and then I say that something specifically about them. So something that I've already thought about before the phone call. One of the things that you explained to me is that you're unhappy with your job and you are hoping that someday you can go back to school. And I have to tell you, identify with that, because I don't know if you know, I left my day job, or I was not happy with my job, and I'm not currently happy with my job, and I work a lot in pursuits. That being said, if you sign up as a coach, you'll actually get a discount in the future on your Shakeology, and you'll have the opportunity to work it as a business if you choose to. And I basically just say that, and I have it written down in a much more, but that's what I say. And I was shocked how many people said, oh yeah, that sounds great. Sure, sign me up. Oh, you know what? My one friend, she also wants to do T25, but she said she doesn't want to pay for that, so maybe she'll be a coach under me. So I've been really surprised. So I've just been saying that every time. And I know that sounds kind of pushy, but if you say it on the phone with your voice inflection and you mean it and you're sincere, if they say no, then you just say, no problem, no worries. Just so you know, that's always an option for you. If you decide in the future, which I know you're going to be so incredibly excited about the Shakeology, if you decide in the future that you'd like to get it less expensively or even get it paid for every month, then just let me know. So one gal that signed up as a challenger 2 weeks later decided to become a coach because she thought about the conversation we had, and I touched base with her. You know, how's the Shakeology? So I've been really focusing a lot on the Shakeology. The 21-day fix is amazing, but I think the basic of everything is that Shakeology, and keeping them on the auto direct, keeping them focused on all the benefits they're getting from it. I've done a bunch of research. We have all these videos at our disposal, and there's so many benefits for so many people. So just staying focused on that has helped people be more focused on wanting to have a coaching opportunity. So, but yes, I will get it and I'll put it on the page.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. Does anyone have any questions for Kelly before we wrap up?
I know I was kind of vague with a lot of things that I said, so if you do think later that you want to connect with me personally, please do, because I do have a notebook full of like 6 pages of notes that I wrote in the car a couple weeks ago, just like Jen used to have the sticky notes at your work with just like a couple words and you're not really sure what they meant. Like, I had a bunch of that, and somehow it helped me connect with more people by writing that down. So at some point I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look through those things, and I'm going to make a video and I'm going to talk about it, because I'll look back on this period of time and I'll feel that it was pivotal for me connecting. And I would never have done this without knowing that I have this team. I'm going to cry now.
No, don't cry. Cry.
So cute. Jen, I'm so excited. Jen Kimball, I'm so excited you're here. I didn't want to call you out, but
I'm here.
It
Been
means
in
a
and
lot
out.
to me
My
to have
connection's not working.
Because you're here. That's what's important. Anyway.
It's all recorded too, so everyone can go back and watch it and cry whenever you feel like crying.
Oh, I did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again, Kelly, so much for sharing your story. I feel like it was just like the iceberg of everything that you really have to share. You know, there's so many little side stories and bits and pieces that, you know, is really cool about being a Beachbody coach for every single one of us, because you can start to share parts of your life with people, because people don't know. Like, people don't know when they look at Kelly that she's lost over 160 pounds, or, you know, what we've each been through, you know. It's so important. Like, people still don't even know I moved to California. So it's very important to continually share your journey, just because you're like, oh my God, well, I've already said this once. Like, not everyone has seen it, you know. And so that's why it's very important, you know, stuff like Transformational Tuesday, share something about yourself, you know, even if it's not a physical, like, it's not about the abs, you know, like, I mean, abs are cool and everything like that, but it's not about the abs. It's about us. People just want to be happier. And so you're going to find people that are looking for a part of your story that you can share. You know, and the thing about being a leader isn't that you pushing people, you're bringing them along with your journey, you know, even if you're just one step ahead. You don't have to have all your shit together. You just got to care, right? You just got to be passionate. And it starts with us, and it starts with us, you know, really believing in ourselves, because, you know, how can we have anyone else believe in themselves if we don't believe in ourselves? So, big takeaways. So very, very good. Give it up for Kelly. Hey! Did we give you a proper send off? Oh my God, I'm trying to find. There's only.
Please, are you gonna put music on?